Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Normally, when I stand before an audience, I start by remarking on how glad I am to be here. But I can't say that today. None of us can. Although I'm honored to be here, this is a very difficult day for the countless people who knew Premier Lougheed, who met him, worked, or served with him, or who were affected by him in some way over the course of both his outstanding career and his rich life. Last week, Albertans lost an icon and a truly great leader. Peter Lougheed had the golden touch. He excelled at everything that he tried, from football and business to law, politics, and philanthropy. His government's achievements were transformative, and they're difficult to count. He is the architect of the province that we all call home. Every single one of us woke up this morning in Peter Lougheed's Alberta. It was the Alberta of which he dreamed, and it was the dream that he was able to make real. He knew this province better than anyone, and he was profoundly devoted to its future. When an individual possesses the charm, the charisma, the intelligence, and the vision that defined Premier Lougheed, opportunities are limitless. During his tenure as Premier, Peter Lougheed was certainly presented with other opportunities. But Peter Lougheed's greatest gift to Alberta was that he stayed in Alberta. And all Albertans, and Albertans for generations to come, will appreciate and benefit from this remarkable gift. Alberta was his heart, his passion, and his ambition. He spent his time in public service working for us and inspiring us to be our best. He lived that idea, and we have this wonderful province because he made us believe that we could. In everything he did, Premier Lougheed was an inspiration. Life in the public eye is not easy, but he made it look effortless. He spent decades in the spotlight, and when he departed the spotlight, he left with the same grace and dignity with which he entered it. He treated his rivals and critics with the respect that characterized his dealings with everyone, and that, he felt, was the due that he owed to every human being. And he saw further than anyone, and he spent his time in office planning for the distant days and a future for our province that no one else could even conceive of at the time. To be a leader is to put yourself at the mercy of posterity and hope that hindsight doesn't judge you too harshly for things that were left undone. And Premier Lougheed need not have worried about that. As many people here, I was lucky enough to spend many hours with him, and I can tell you that Premier Lougheed was also the rarest of individuals, someone whose emotional intelligence matched his soaring intellect. I will never forget his call to me right after our leadership race ended last October. Months of grueling campaigning had just come to an end, and I had the honor of realizing that I was to serve as the Premier of Alberta. I was reflecting on how much work lay ahead when Premier Lougheed phoned, and before offering any advice, said 5 simple words: "You are now my leader." And that gesture was truly humbling. It was a humbling experience, and it is one that I will remember for all of my life. It speaks to the man that Peter Lougheed was. That conversation is etched in my memory, and no matter where I go or what I do, I will always carry Premier Lougheed's words and advice with me. I am proud to call Premier Lougheed my mentor, my friend, and always my leader. Premier Lougheed exhibited all of the traits that we admire in a person. He was intelligent, compassionate, he was a kind man. He was a man of great integrity. He was a man that people noticed when he walked into a room and who treated everyone he met with the same respect and familiarity that he did his closest friends. And he was a man who put his family at the center of his life. These were the qualities that he respected in other people, and no one possessed these qualities quite like Premier Lougheed, except, of course, for the woman that he married, Jean Lougheed. Over the past week, I've seen many photographs of Premier Lougheed's life, both inside and outside of politics. And the majority of them had one thing in common. In every picture, his lovely wife, Jean, was by his side, and they were looking at each other, I'm sure with the same affection and admiration and respect that they did when they first met. Peter and Jean Lougheed ingrained in their family all of the qualities that made them so special. And their children and grandchildren are shining examples of their love, their affection, and their guidance. To the Lougheed family, each one of you has handled the strain of public life with the same grace and poise that Premier Lougheed did. You shared your husband, your father, and your grandfather with us for decades. And you're still doing that in the midst of great heartbreak. You're an amazing family. And on behalf of the people of Alberta, I want to thank you for sharing him with us.